What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to High School Never Ends, a pop punk dad podcast. I am Wingman Steve.
And I am Chris, 183, and welcome back, everybody, to February Folly. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've been following along this month, we've been doing all kinds of fun episodes, right, that don't necessarily fit together, but they do fall under the banner of fun. That's everything from a movie to a trivia game to just random stuff that we've been wanting to do for a long time. This is the month that we decided to do it. Steve, did I get all that? I think that's it, right?
Yeah, I hope everybody doesn't think that like everything outside of February is not fun, because every episode we do is fun. These are just extra silly, I think.
You're okay. Whatever, right? I think that people get it. I think they understand. But back to the point. Today, another February Folly episode. We're going to talk about an album that, I don't know, like didn't necessarily fit anywhere else, right? I think that we finally found this is an album that I've been wanting to do. Actually, this is an artist that I've been wanting to do for a long time because I've been a longtime fan of this artist. And this album actually was a unanimous choice by everybody here today. And yes, that's right. As we have been doing, we did bring in a guest for this week's February Folly episode. And actually, this individual, this is their second time on the show. I want to introduce once again, for all of you guys that didn't hear him last time, talk about everything Nickelodeon. Andrew, welcome back to the show.
Hello. Thank you guys for having me. Couldn't be more excited to talk about another crazy topic and be part of the February Folly. Is that what you call it?
That is our mini series that we're calling it right now.
Yeah.
So, but what I didn't say is what the artist was or what the album is. So Steve, why don't you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing more fun, weird, and silly than Weird Al Yankovic. And if you're of our age and generation, I think there's no escaping that you know Weird Al. And the album chosen is 1999's Running with Scissors. Running with Scissors, which I would not recommend you actually do in real life.
You know, the funny thing is this fits right into our podcast, right? 99, 2000, 2001. This is right there. This is right in the heyday of all that pop punk stuff. So I don't know if he necessarily does any kind of parodies of pop punk on this album, but he definitely does some good ones. So where I'd like to start is just overall thoughts. Andrew, I'm going to go to you first because you were very, very excited, very passionate about this album and this artist. So why Weird Al Yankovic?
Okay, so 1999 was the year, right? I was in 5th grade at the time. I remember going on vacation to Hilton Head, South Carolina, and I had this album recently purchased. I had previously had on cassette tape Bad Hair Day, which was the album that preceded this one. And you know, I spent the entire drive down listening to this album, all these tracks over and over and over and over again. I think I had it memorized by the end of that vacation, but it was just a significant point in kind of like my childhood. I remember laughing with friends over these songs, and you know, as we get into it, I'll tell you even more stories I think about some particular songs. But overall, I love Weird Al, love what he stands for, love that he did it different than everybody else, and I love this album. And you know what? I know you're saying this is the February Folly, but I mean, you know, this album reached 16 on the Billboard charts at one point. So I mean, it wasn't a folly. It was a hit for a little bit.
For sure. So did I hear you right? This is your first Weird Al album, or did you listen to him before this?
I listened to him before this. I had Bad Hair Day, which was an album
That's right.
from the early to mid 90s. And then this was kind of the follow up to that, if I'm following the discography correctly.
Gotcha. So Steve, what about you? How did you get into Weird Al? Was this an artist that you followed, and what album did you start with?
It's funny because I definitely listened to a lot of Weird Al, and I think so. It's the album that I got into was a compilation album, but I probably found Weird Al like a lot of 90s kids, like on MTV, because he did make a lot of videos in the 80s and the 90s, and probably, you know, the more famous ones like Fat and Eat It and Like a Surgeon and stuff like that. So I probably saw the videos in the mid 90s, and I was, you know, I've always been some sort of a collector, no matter what it is. I've collected something, and a lot of times it was media. So when I was was a kid, it kind of started, well, it started with like wrestling action figures, but Ninja Turtles. But when I started to be like a teenager, cassette tapes, when I got into music, I would collect cassette tapes. And I was very, very close with my grandmother, and she was the one who would like spoil me a little bit. So when I would go hang out with her, we would go to like the record store and she would buy me anything, and she didn't really know any popular she didn't know the music. So if I was asking her to buy me Snoop Dogg, she wouldn't know that was probably not an album a grandmother buys for like a 15-year-old kid or whatever it was. But I think it must have been for a special occasion, because I asked for her to buy me this box set. I must have found it in a record store, and it's called Permanent Record Al in the Box. And it came in this big fat case, this box. And I think it had 4 cassette tapes. I think it was 4, either 3 or 4. It was not CD. It was definitely cassette. And I don't have the details of it, but I'm pretty sure that it was before, Andrew, you said it was definitely before Bad Hair Day. So I think most of the stuff that I initially got into were kind of the greatest hits. And it's a mix of his originals and his parodies, but really kind of those relatively early ones, like maybe I'm thinking in my head like 95. I don't know if that's when this box set came out, but most of the stuff. So I basically just got a crash course in all of the like bigger or more popular Weird Al songs from the last like whatever it was, 10 years or something like that. And from there, I would say that I don't know that I would purchase every Weird Al CD that came out. I probably found them on a downloading service, whether it was legal or not. But I would always keep a periphery view, of his music videos and some of the more popular ones. So going back and listening to Running with Scissors in particular, I don't know that I ever purchased this album, because I think I know all the parodies, but I don't think I knew, like, I didn't have a lot of recollection of the polka melody or the original songs. So I am a big fan of Weird Al. I am a big fan of parodies. I think as a little kid, it's always funny to hear the popular song and then someone who's like, he's not making fun of these songs. He's rewriting them, and he's silly, man. That's why silliness fits into February Folly. He's not a Folly because he's a big success.
Of course, I know that. I was giving you a hard time.
But he's just he's a silly dude. He's Weird. He is
a walking Folly, is what it is. And if you haven't seen his more recent movie that is Weird, the Al Yankovic story, starring Daniel Radcliffe, it was incredible. It was not accurate, but it was absolutely Weird Al at its finest. So.
Do we want to? I don't know if we want to. I do want to comment on that. I don't know if we want to slice out some time for that, or if I should just respond.
Just respond.
Let's go ahead and talk about it.
So I agree with you. I was so excited when that movie came out, and it was on like, I don't know, the Roku channel. It was on something that was like free, but strange. Like you had to like make sure you had the app. It wasn't on like your Amazons or your Netflix or your Hulus or anything like that. And so I carved out an evening for me and my wife to watch it. And I will 100% say that like the first half of the movie was really good, and the second half of the movie, it just took it to this other like crazy nutty level. So I guess it's supposed to be somewhat autobiographical, but take the autobiographical stuff and to the extreme. And I think by the time it got real extreme, and I probably had a couple of drinks while we were watching it because it was the weekend, and I think by the end I was just like, what the hell's going on? So it dipped off more than halfway through for me.
Did you watch it, Andrew? Because I did.
I did. I watched it. I felt very similar to it because at the beginning it was more about like how he got into music, and of course it was extreme, but once he started dating Madonna, I knew that something wasn't right. Something didn't smell like it was fresh, and that's when I realized this is not so much an autobiography. It's like it's in his wildest dreams type of autobiography.
But it was done really well, and I will say that you didn't see it coming. So for like us, like I think we probably watched a trailer or something. You didn't know where it was going to go. So when I kind of sat down, I'm like, oh, this is kind of like a biopic. It'll be funny. And then it started, and it was funny. The whole thing was funny, but it does go into a little bit of the ridiculous right around the time you mentioned.
So he actually took a movie, he took a autobiography movie, autobiographical. I can't even speak, but he took that and he parodied it just like he does his songs, right? It's the same idea then. So that was actually genius.
If you parody yourself, you're the ultimate paradoxical person. I don't know what the right word is, but
Yeah, I mean, fine, right? They could say it that way, but yeah, exactly. And I think that's kind of my point here. And I'm going to segue from the movie to just the fact that I think that yes, he's goofy. Yes, he does all of these parodies, and he uses other songs as a basis for what he does. But the guy is just excellent at lyrical arrangements, like the way that he puts songs together and the way that he takes the basis of a song, and I'm just talking about the parodies, but not just the parodies, even the originals. He's able to take those and bring in just relevant thoughts, pop culture, anything, right, and make them work and fit together. And lyrically, he does it in a way that it just flows perfectly. It's awesome. And I think that's the hook, right? That's why he is so successful, is he's able to do that. He's able to make it interesting. And even though I think that maybe there's some misses in there with some songs that I don't like as much as others, they're not as funny to me, I guess. There's some subject matter that he chooses for songs that I'm like, I wouldn't have done that. I think for the most part, he hits it out of the park.
And he plays a goof, but he's super intelligent, and I think that's the genius of Weird Al.
Yep,
100%.
So, but we talked a little bit about originals. So a lot about parodies. We'll get into those. We'll actually talk about both when we talk about this album. But with the originals, what did you guys think about the original songs that he writes? Like, are you into those, or do you kind of skip over them?
Well, I think honestly, a lot of his originals are parodies in certain ways too, and not so much in the sense that he copied a particular melody, right, or the rhythm of a song, but he copies people's styles even in his originals, right? And that's something else to be said for, right? And he didn't care whether it was a rap song, whether it was a grunge song, whether it was a pop song. It doesn't matter. He could take it and make it his own kind of version of it, regardless of who that was. So I'm a fan of all of it, and I don't think it matters whether it's one way or the other because he still brought a cool element to the table.
Yeah, I would say for me, and again, I haven't listened to every Weird Al record. I listened to a lot on that comp, but I definitely know the parodies more than I know the originals. And some, I think Chris, you said it best. The originals can be hit or miss. I think they're all probably well thought out. But are they all gonna pull me in and make me super interested? Not all of them. He just did a tour. I think it was last year. But on this tour, he did all of his original songs. There were no parodies. A friend of mine went to see it, I think in Florida, and it's for the super dedicated hardcore Weird Al fans. I don't know that I would buy a ticket, or I didn't buy a ticket. I don't know if it came to my city, but I don't think I would go to see that, but I might go to see the overall experience.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
I'll tell you what, I was in Maine. I was in Portland, Maine, and I had paid to go on this evening cruise. It wasn't even really a cruise. It was the mail shuttle that goes to all these different islands, but you could pay $20 and ride it while the sun set. And as we were pulling back into the main dock, there just happened to be a Weird Al concert going on that we passed by. And he was doing one of his Star Wars songs, which we're going to talk about today. And the stage was loaded with stormtroopers, and he was wielding a lightsaber and everything else, right? And that's one song. Not a single other one in the entire set was about Star Wars. So that means they had a pretty crazy costume set and just overall theming that they had to figure out for these type of concerts. I mean, that alone is pretty impressive.
Oh, for sure. I would have loved to have seen him. I have never seen him live. I think I had opportunities to do it and I never did. And look, I've been listening to Weird Al since 1988. I mean, looking at this album, even worse. This is where I kind of got into it. This is where we got to. This is where we got into the song "Fat," which I thought was an amazing video. But I'm sure back then, in the heyday of Michael Jackson and all of that stuff, some of his live performances were really awesome, and they obviously, based on your story, Andrew, they just they've continued through the years. So, Steve, are you showing us something?
I was just showing you, this is the set list from the last tour that he did. So these are all his originals, but they were not the parody songs. So Young, Dumb, and Ugly. I know a handful of these. I probably don't know all of them, but pretty cool for him to do an entire I'm sure it sold well. I mean, he did a whole tour.
Oh
Yeah.
Just wanted to share that. Sorry.
There were a couple off this album that I saw on that list too.
Mhm.
So
yes, saw that too.
I read some feedback on this album too, overall, and it seemed like it was mostly positive. This is just, not just Wikipedia, by the way. This is several different sources that I was looking at, but there were a couple sources, a couple magazines, a couple articles that didn't like this as much. This album that we're going to talk about here. This is 1999. He had a bunch of albums under his belt. I'll tell you what, like, and one more thing about kind of coming up through the years, I did not buy his albums one after another, similar to you, Steve. But what I did do is keep up with the parodies when they would come out, similar to what you guys already said. So why? Because I thought I was always just curious. I wanted to hear I just wanted to hear them. I wanted to hear how he did those songs in a different way, like Amish Paradise and songs like that, right? It was just really cool to kind of just see what he had next. But I did lose interest. I don't want to say lost interest, but I just kind of parted ways. Like I did stop paying attention at a certain time. I don't know when that was. Maybe like mid 2000s, around that time. It was after this album, but I don't know. I don't know why things just happened. But for this album itself, so many good things on it. Ready to jump in, unless you guys have something else you want to talk about prior to.
I mean, most of his albums came out earlier. Well, early. So you had said in the 2000s. After this one, he only had four albums. So this was 99. He had Poodle Hat 03, Straight Outta Linwood. That was 2006. And then I don't ever remember listening to Alpocalypse in 2011 or Mandatory Fun 2014. Maybe I listened to a track or two when that last one came out, but he hasn't done a whole lot in the last, he hasn't done anything really in 10 years other than, I guess, tour and be involved in movies. But I think a lot of the interest was there, concentrated in the late 80s, in the 90s, and the very early 2000s.
Yeah, so Steve, you mentioned earlier you had a compilation album. He had two of those that came out in the early 90s, so that was probably one of the two that you got. This was actually his 10th true album that he came out with. And, I would say, I think this was the peak of his career in my eyes and like his music writing. And then from there, I don't want to say it went downhill because it's not like the quality was lost. It's just that, the popularity, because a lot of us, when I say us, I mean the three of us plus other similar fans and age groups probably started to lose some of that interest, right? I'd be interested to know if you talk to somebody that was 8 years younger than us, would they even know who he is, right? Or really understand what he did to break the barriers here with music. Oh, Chris, you got something for us?
Well, my kids, and I tell you, they love Weird Al because I played it for them. And so there was only a couple songs they really, really like. And the one they love the most is Amish Paradise. And so my son learned the lyrics, but then my daughter, his sister, learned them in secret. So then, like, she goes to school and tells everybody how she knows all the words of this song, and he gets so mad because he's like, I learned them first. She can't take credit for that. It was so funny. But no, I mean, I think the younger generation, if they listen to these songs, they that doesn't answer your question, maybe whether that they know who he is. But I think his music definitely can transcend to the younger generation because it has a hook to it. So,
and shout out to our friend Matt Kelly has a podcast called Weird Algorithm, and he talks about one song every single episode. So he probably has like 10, 15 years worth of material he's doing. But if you want a real deep dive, he's definitely an expert.
That sounds like a deep dive. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, can we start by talking about the album cover? I know that's probably not like the number one thing you guys typically talk about on these.
I love doing that. Trust me. Like, go ahead.
So in this album cover, he had long hair and a ponytail. He was running on a track, a pair of scissors raised above his head in each hand, to commemorate the name of the album. And he was wearing a tracksuit. But the other thing that this brought to the table was this the first time he was seen without his signature glasses on. So the reason why is he had just gotten LASIK prior to recording this album. So it was his kind of first public appearance as like the clean cut new version of Weird Al. It was more of like, I'm going to put this out there to just have people think, oh, I changed, but then hit him with this album that was still absolutely ridiculous. But I just thought that was a good, homage and tribute to like what it is that he did. Now, his tracksuit had the number 27 on it. I have no idea if that means anything or has anything relevant, but I'd be interested to like do a deep dive into that sometime just to understand where that part came from. But overall, I love the album cover and I love the idea.
Do you think that was it weird to you to see him without glasses though?
Yes, absolutely.
It was
I didn't even realize it was him when somebody showed me the album. I was like, huh? Because typically he had curly hair that kind of frizzed and froed out.
yes.
And now he's got a long ponytail, clean cut look. Like I didn't even realize he was that skinny of a man until I saw him in that album cover. It was kind of crazy.
Oh, that's right. He also had the mustache too, and he shaved it. So
Yes.
it's
Oh,
like
yes, that was
everything's
the other
different.
piece. Yeah.
Yikes.
Did he keep the no glass? I'm trying to think of like when I've seen him recently. Does he still wear? Did he go back to the glasses, or does he still go no glasses? I can't remember.
I don't
I have
know.
no clue.
Okay.
What's the shelf life on LASIK? That'll probably tell us.
I don't know.
15
never-
20 years, maybe.
I
Might
think
be
you
getting
can get it
close.
again though. You can like touch it up, right?
I have no clue. I assume so. I don't think it's a one and done.
I never went in that direction, but yeah, it was weird. It's just like, you know, the mustache threw me off more, in my opinion, because I've known so many people with mustaches that when they shave their mustache, they look like a different person. This is more probably like 80s and 90s. I mean, you know, my dad was one of them. Like when he shaved his mustache, it's like I don't understand. But then you just get used to it, I guess. But
Well, I mean, if you look at the album right before that, Bad Hair Day, he had his hair twisted into little knots that
Yeah.
like kind of were all over the place. He had the mustache, the glasses. He was wearing like a funky suit. It was the complete opposite. So he did a 180 with coming out with this one. But like I said, I think it set the tone for greatness here.
set the tone moving into the new millennia, the 2000s, you know, just right around. I don't know what month this come out, but it definitely, again, 99 was the year. And
It was June 28th.
okay, so middle of
Yeah.
the year. Middle of the
Yeah,
year.
I'm sad, Chris, you weren't there at your local Walmart waiting for it to open so you could purchase
Should've.
this.
I should have. And you know what? Now that I think about it, like I did buy Off the Deep End. I remember having that tape. And I think I also bought Alapalooza. I did not buy Bad Hair Day, though. So I stopped buying right before Bad Hair Day. I don't know why, but I definitely listened to Off the Deep End. That was the one with the Nirvana cover on it like a million times in a row. I love that album. That was amazing. So forgot about that one. But let's talk about this one. Let's go ahead and jump into the tracks, guys. Are you ready to break this one down? Okay. Cool. The saga begins. Andrew, I know you've been chomping at the bit. Why don't you kick us off with your thoughts on this first track?
Well, the saga does begin with this song. For those of you who don't know of this song, it is a parody of the song American Pie. But it's from the viewpoint, I guess, first I should say. It was episode 1, which was by far my least favorite Star Wars that came out. So I thought it was interesting to dedicate the first song of an album to it. But I have to imagine, just based on the year 99, that was probably around when that new Star Wars trilogy started, which is what made it a popular topic to cover. But it was from the viewpoint of Obi-Wan Kenobi, was kind of the setup of the entire song. Now, listen, I'm not typically the guy that goes through and kind of debunks the songs. I want to hear a little bit from you guys, and I got a few more things to add in here, kind of along the way.
Okay.
I can chime in there.
Go ahead, Steve. Go
So
for
first off, I love the song American Pie, and I love Star Wars. So I don't think there's any way that I'm not going to like this. And to your point, Andrew, so thinking back to around this time, or when the new trilogy started, episode 1, it's kind of funny now to think, oh my God, there's an entire song dedicated to a movie that like most Star Wars fans didn't appreciate, like didn't like all that much. Yeah, because everyone, they hate on Jar Jar Binks, whatever. But if it seems ridiculous, but you got to remember like how huge that movie was when it first came out, before all the haters came out and started shitting on Jar Jar Binks. I mean, honestly, the fact that there were 3 Star Wars movies that were released like, in the 80s, and then nothing had come out until the mid to late 90s, this was a huge moment in pop culture. Like I remember waiting online to see this in the movies, and my friend was dressed up in like an Obi-Wan Kenobi, like whatever. He had a lightsaber. There were literally people like lightsaber battling in the parking lot. Nobody got hurt. Everybody was friendly. So going back to that point in time, it does make sense. Thinking back now, everyone's like, that original trilogy did not get the greatest of reviews, especially episodes 1 and 2. But whatever, I'm just going to put that on the side and say I've said it. Really, really great job, I think, by Mr. Yankovic. Just telling almost this entire movie plot, like in pretty good detail in a 5-minute song. And Chris, I have bitched about long songs that bother me. American Pie doesn't bother me. This song doesn't bother me. I don't care about the length. Not even going to say anything about it. I think that he did a really, really impressive job just getting the entire plot. I will say I'll give 3 little lyrics that stood out to me, or 2, and one other thing. I thought where he says, do you see him hitting on the queen, even though he's just 9 and she's 14? That's a great call out of something that's, relatively inappropriate, but he's going to marry her one day. The other thing is giant claps to him for getting the word midi-chlorians into this song, because I don't remember if midi-chlorians were talked about in, the original 4, 5, and 6, or if they just brought it up in this one. But it was kind of a big deal how they tested him as midi-chlorians are off the stale. And what the fuck are midi-chlorians? Like, that just sounds like something stupid somebody made up. But I love the fact that it made its way in here. Also, I think the perspective, Andrew, you said that the perspective is from Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he holds the perspective the entire time, which is really cool. He's not telling the movie as if he's telling it a trailer. He's singing this song as if he really is, and all the experiences that Obi-Wan went through. The only thing I would have liked to have seen was a little bit more expansion, how he kills Darth Maul. Sorry if I spoiled episode 1 for anybody, but he does talk about how Qui-Gon Jinn got killed, but he kind of glosses over like the big fucking fight where he kills this crazy red and black faced dude with the multiple lightsabers. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say. Thumbs up on Star Wars, thumbs up on American Pie. So thumbs up on this song.
Whew. You want me to follow that? Like, I definitely can. I'll tell you what, though. You take a movie, you take any movie, pick a movie. I don't know. What's a good movie? Any movie, and you summarize it in a song and make it rhyme. Like, I bet you can't do that. I bet you can't do it as well as he did here. That's why I'm in awe. You think about the song American Pie. It's an amazing song, but you still got to take words and you still got to make it work in the form of a song and make it fit this song, make it rhyme well. Now, there was a couple things that I saw here that didn't rhyme. I think he rhymed boy with nothing, but it didn't really matter. It flowed so great throughout the whole song, and I just love the way he did this. My wife and kids are big Star Wars fans. They love this song. Every time it comes on, they sing it. It's such a catchy riff for the chorus. Just obviously American Pie is too. But, maybe Vader someday later, now he's just a small fry. That's really cool, right? The way he kind of put that all together. So
well,
I'll tell you what.
Chris, I think that the other thing to that, though, is because I agree with everything you just said, is that not only did he make it rhyme, but he kept to the tone of the original song.
100%.
Because the original song starts on kind of a low note, moves to a high note, and then goes back to like a low, which is exactly what happened in the song here and with this movie. Like, It was such an incredible job. And I want to read a lyric real quick that I thought was amazing, because I don't know, it just like this was like the part where things were kind of, I don't want to say falling apart, but getting negative, where he says, and in the end, some Gungans died, some ships blew up, and some pilots fried. A lot of folks were croaking. The battle droids were broken. And I'm like, but the way he sung it in that kind of like sad tone was like, oh my God, that's just so impressive. And he said the word Gungans in a song, which I never thought I would hear in my entire life. So incredibly impressed.
Absolutely. Sounds like we all liked it. And one final thought here is that he does a really good job emulating the singer for whoever the song is that he's singing of. So I think that Don McLean, the way he emulate the way that Don McLean sings, like he hit that tone perfectly. I think you just said it, Andrew, but I have to say it again because it's crazy. And you'll hear that again on this album, and I'll make it a point to say it, but I think we've said it all for The Saga Begins. Now let's go to an original about Eddie Vedder. So my baby's in love with Eddie Vedder, not his baby, just his baby. What did you guys think about this song? Because I wasn't sure. Steve, you want to start this one off?
Sure. I don't like this song. Going from The Saga Begins to this one, I don't get it because I feel like half of the time he is making fun of Eddie Vedder and the other half of the time he's like singing his praises while telling the story. And, it's not a parody, it's an original. I forget exactly what kind of style it goes to. I don't think I can put it in my head at the moment.
Zydeco.
What is it?
It's a Zydeco genre, which is like a Cajun rhythm and blues theme from Louisiana.
Listen, I'll give him props for coming up with weird, different types of like musical things that he puts together, like genres, because I wouldn't have known that or thought that. But I didn't really dig the content. This one didn't hit for me, and it kind of brought me down a little bit if we're talking about like album tracking at number 2. I think if I'm re-listening to this album, I'm probably skipping this one most of the time.
Okay. Strong thoughts. Andrew, what about you?
I would agree overall. And it's not just because I'm not a Pearl Jam fan. It's beyond that. I would agree with most of what Wingman Steve said. That I like I said, the style was interesting and unique. I never heard what a Zydeco song was. I had to look that up myself to understand really what he was going for there. But I felt like if you're going to write a song that's about your lover kind of like being obsessed with somebody else, it should have a different tone to it. And it should have probably someone besides Eddie Vedder at the other end of it. Just my 2 cents.
No, not a fan of Eddie Vedder then, Andrew?
I mean, I don't totally dislike the guy, but like, I don't know. I feel like a sex icon of music that wouldn't be my choice.
Yeah, but I get, and I think about Eddie Vedder in '99 too. Like, Eddie Vedder was relevant in like 91, 92, 93. It is tight at like the top of his career. 99, I don't know. I feel like it wasn't as much Pearl Jam at the time. I didn't like the song either. Maybe I don't like Zydeco. Maybe that's it. Maybe I didn't think it was that funny. I thought the humor in it was kind of just like, I get it, but whatever. Like, we've heard the story about, your girlfriend, wife, whatever, in love with the pop star. So I don't know. Like, he had some clever things, I guess he said, but it wasn't enough to really pull me in. So I don't have anything else to say there other than I agree with you guys, and on to the next song. And what a song it is. It's Pretty Fly for a Rabbi. There's a lot of things in this song I don't understand, but there's a lot of things in this song I really like. So I don't know. Andrew, kick us off on this one. Pretty Fly for a Rabbi.
First of all, I thought the song was genius, and I thought it was very funny to listen to. I very much enjoyed the song. It was upbeat, and then of course the original song, "Pretty Fly for a White Guy," from The Offspring, is a catchy song as well, right? So I think it was the right choice for what he was going for. I thought this is like one of the topics I think that kind of could I don't know, be a theme for the whole album if we're going to talk about it. But compared to today's environment, and not to get sociological or political with it, but like there was a couple things that he said across this album that I don't know if you could say in music today. And one of them in particular, and because I was listening to this album again, prepping for the show, and he said like, all the goyim say he's pretty fly for a rabbi. And I was like, goyim, I don't even know what that means. I'm going to look it up.
That's okay. I'm a Jew. I can translate the Jewisms. Goyim's is okay. That means like not non-Jewish people.
Yes. But like I like when I was reading, I was like, oh, it could almost be like somewhat of a slur against non-Jewish people if you are a Jewish person, right? Which I don't, I have no idea if that's accurate or not. You'd be the expert, I guess, in that regard. But it kind of like when we get into other songs, I'll be able to probably get into this further. But I just thought that was an interesting thing to say because like I never heard that term before, and he worked it into a song. That's like saying Gungan again. I don't know how he's coming up with this stuff. But the oy veys, the kind of like I don't know, superficial like Jewish thoughts of the whole thing were kind of funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, what about the beginning where in the original song it's like bluk and black and bluk and black, but in this song it's like Vernzel Funder a Blinsta. I don't even know what they say. I don't know what that is.
I think that might be gibberish or it's Yiddish that I don't know because I don't know what that means. I will do some other translations, but not that.
The how you doing, Bernie?
That's funny.
This song is great. So I look, the original song I didn't love. I just maybe because I heard it 10 billion times and it was on every minute of my life back then. But man, this song is good. And he sounds just like he does a Dexter Holland impression that's amazing. Like he sounds just like Dexter. It's great. But he's like Weird Al Dexter. So like he still is Weird Al. This song to me, like, and hopefully, Steve, you're not over there taking offense. You probably hate this song. You hate the song?
No, I don't hate the song.
Okay, good. This is amazing. So everything about it is funny. They even do Mecca Lecca Hi, Mecca Heiny Ho. I don't even think that's Jewish. I think that's just Pee Wee Herman, right? That's nothing. That just fit here. But I could just. I'm just gonna. What I would want to do here for my review is just basically recite the entire song. I'm not gonna do that, but there's so many really cool things here. How you doing, Bernie? I already said. I already talked about his emulation. The Mecca Lecca High was awesome. I could go on and on. There's it's just it was one of my favorite songs on the album. So, Steve, what did you think?
So as the resident Jew here on the podcast for High School Never Ends, I'll say that like there's some funny, clever Jewish stuff here, and there's some that's like that is borderline insulting. And Weird Al is a Jew, to my knowledge. I believe he is. And so I guess he can kind of say what he wants, right? Because I guess if you're part of the club, you can say, oh, I can say that because I'm a Jew. The Mecca Lecca Hi, Mecca Heiny Heiny Ho, that is insulting. Like, that is not Yiddish. That is not Jewish. That's putting some, like, dumb fucking, like,
that's
magician
Jobby.
shit.
That's
what?
Jobby from Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah, that's putting some dumb shit in. That does not fit. I don't like that. I think the entire verse about the discount stores is stereotypical. That is like putting cheap Jew. He might just say like Jews are cheap, Jews are cheap, Jews are cheap, Jews are cheap. That like verse, I feel like he should have stricken that, and I don't think that would fly today. However, that's the only thing that I have problem with the song. I think that he does a great Dexter Holland. It's really hard to sing his voice. I tried years ago to probably do this song or another song at karaoke. It is hard, and I was horrible. It's really hard to do that voice. He does it really well, but he mixes in a lot of a really good like Jewish phrases and Yiddish phrases. The ones that I underlined that I like, nudniks, that means like, silly people. Shtick, everybody kind of knows shtick. Talking about bagels with some schmear, that's funny. He's such a macher because he worked his tuchus off. I think that's a good one. I also like the word schlep. He'll always schlep down for a wedding or a bris. They say he's got a lot of chutzpah. Chutzpah is a great Jewish term that a lot of people do use in like everyday life. It kind of just means like balls. Like you got a lot of balls. You got a lot of courage, something like that. And then in the last verse, I love when he says, "I'm doing well. I got a kvel." That's like, I got to talk and say how great things are. The yentas love him. Even chickses think he's swell. I think yentas and chickses are this. I think they're the same thing. I can't remember. No, yentas are Jewish women. Shiksas are non-Jewish women. So he's basically saying that everybody loves this person. And Oi gewalt, I'm so verklempt that I could plots. So again, there's a lot of really good stuff in here, and he rhymes it really well. A couple of things that didn't fly for a rabbi or a white guy or whoever, but overall, it's a pretty good. It's well done. It's a good song.
So in other words, I just offended you by celebrating Mecca Lecca Hi Mecca Honey Ho.
You didn't know any better. I'm not really offended. I would just say that, like, if you're looking at this song in its entirety, like taking something that like doesn't even fit in there just because it kind of sounds like it could be something a Jewish person could say is, I'm not a fan of that.
On a scale from 1 to 10, how much did I offend you right now?
Probably like 1.
9 for me, Chris.
9? I offended you.
No, but I have to ask. I posted this in our little chat here. But this one particular line, this goes back to I think the verse you were talking about, where it's like,
yeah,
Jews are cheap, Jews are cheap. What do these words mean?
It's funny. It's like a lot of times, I guess if you, and I don't know the whole language or anything, but like if you know another language, sometimes you like know the word in that language, but you can't translate it. So what you're saying is he never acts meshuggah. I guess that kind of means like acting like a jerk or whatever. I don't exactly know what schlemiel is, but it's just another like negative term. So he's hardly I think that's what
it's
it
like
means.
An idiot or something, or
yeah, like a dummy, an idiot. I think that's what it is.
Okay.
But if you want to haggle, oy vey, he'll make you such a deal. So again, that's going to like Jews are negotiating and cheap and those things. But happy I could do somewhat of a translation.
No, this is great. This is great. I didn't expect that coming into this podcast, so this is a pleasant surprise.
Grab your yarmulke, the one you got for Hanukkah. He had to make that rhyme.
Oh yeah, had to.
Take Steve. You want to take the next one?
I have nothing to say about this next song, to be honest. So I guess he had a short-lived TV show. Was it animated or not animated?
I don't know.
So to be honest, I didn't even think there was a TV show for this. I think it was just completely made up for this album. I could be totally wrong though.
I looked it up, and he did have I'm pretty sure he did have an actual TV show.
See, while you're looking, I thought the same thing, Andrew. I thought that it was just a parody of what a TV show theme song would be if he had a show. I mean, if he had one, this would be perfect. It was kind of long though for a TV show intro.
Yeah, so it is a real TV show. It aired on Saturday mornings on CBS, and it ran for one season from September to December. So it ran for like 3 months in 1997, and then they put it out on DVD in 2006. So this was just the intro to that show. So again, I never watched the show, but I don't really have anything to say about an intro to a theme song to a TV show.
It's catchy. It's catchy. Right.
Well, okay. So I remember, and I've seen this on Reddit and other places where, people make these stories that are more or less just nonsense. They continue to go on and run on sentences, but none of the actual words are normal sentences or things that you would think to hear when anybody was speaking. And that's the epitome of this song. Like every single I don't want to say verse, every single like lyric pretty much gets like crazier and crazier and crazier, where you're like, how in the world does this guy live in the forest? He bathes in sour cream. He joins the bowling team. He eats jelly bean and pickle sandwiches. Now all of a sudden he got his own TV show. It just, none of it makes any sense. But I think that's kind of part of his shtick, right? With this whole thing is he's trying to like be this man that doesn't make any sense that somehow landed on a TV show, and here's the story of it. So I kind of agree. It's kind of like sophomoric a little bit, but still made me laugh when I heard it. And I'm like, I had to listen to it twice to be like, what the hell did you just say?
I mean, how can you pass up a jelly bean and pickle sandwich for sure, right?
Well, Chris, I know you, and you'll eat to try just about anything.
Well, I mean, if I'm dared to do it, I mean, I have to, right? It's just something that I have to do. So I would appreciate it if you didn't put that in front of me at some point in time, because
it's happening. It's happening. I'm actually going to email some for mutual friends to make sure that this happens. Not just sometime, but in the next 30 to 40 days.
You guys heard it. It's going to happen. We'll take pictures, but this one's a quick one too. It's only a minute and 9 seconds. So I guess my comment about it being a little long is incorrect. Maybe it just felt long, but again, it's catchy. It's a theme song. It is what it is. And I'm not sure if there's much more to say about that one. So one thing I probably will say is I'd like to go back and maybe watch this show, because I've never seen it. And what's really interesting is the show was canceled. It went for 1 year, and then he put the theme song on this album. That's why. Like, I guess just to let people know about it. I don't know. I'd like to know that answer.
Maybe he was mad that it got canceled.
Maybe.
Such a short run on TV. He needed to let this live in the music verse forever.
Maybe so, but we talk about short runs on TV.
It's on
but
Amazon Prime.
What about, this is a segue, Steve. What about long runs on TV shows, specifically the Jerry Springer show? I don't know how many seasons that was on, but I'm sure it was a long time. And I'm sure you guys both watched the Jerry Springer show at some point in time, at least one time, at least once, right? No?
I
Yes?
definitely watched it more than one time.
Oh yeah, me too.
Okay. So this was a huge thing then, right? Everybody was watching it. It was pop culture central. Like, you know, all these references, Jerry Springer, it just was all over the place. So how appropriate that it's on this album, and he does a parody of it. And it's funny because you think about the song that they're parodying here, the Bare Naked Ladies, you know, 1 week. It's a nonsense song, but then again, like, I guess it's not, but it's perfect to do any parody because it feels like you can easily just retrofit stuff into it and it would fit perfectly. And he did that here with Jerry Springer. And I think it was the perfect marriage because there's so much stuff you could talk about with Jerry Springer, you know, from guests to just hijinks on the show. To could talk about all that. He just dumped it all into this song and he made it work. And I don't know, like specific lyrics. I don't know if there's anything that I can speak of. I mean, did anything jump out to you guys as like, wow, this is a really cool way that he said that, or what he mentioned? I mean,
Yes.
go for it.
I like the Bare Naked Ladies, and I liked the song. I remember when it came out, and I remember the video, and I thought I was cool because I kind of learned how to sing it, and I don't think I could still do it, but I think that he perfectly parodied this this song. He captured the essence of Jerry Springer. Most of the lyrics are really good. You kind of sometimes I printed them out. I looked at them, and I think if you actually look at them, sometimes you can digest them a little bit more because he goes so fast, just like the lead singer from Bare Naked Ladies does. But all of the things that he references on this show, you know, is the guy learns his woman's a she-male, a hermaphrodite, the slut and the crack hoe, there's a fight between the KKK and the gay Jewish black guy, Siamese twins and the transvestite, psycho killers with problems they should work out. There's so many more here. But my favorite is when he does the really fast version and he goes, Nymphomaniac is back on crack. It's like when animals attack, they all exhibit reprehensible behavior. Hit them in the nose, tear off their clothes, step on their toes. That's how it goes. They get so violent, they have to sign a waiver. And I think he does that same thing, but with different words a couple of times. But when he goes to that, like in 1 week, there is that one point, you know, I can't think of it because I'm now thinking of the Weird Al version, but there is that point where it kind of, he turns up the speed on his lyrics, like doubles it. And I think Weird Al does a really good job doing that. The only thing I would say is that the end of like whatever the chorus is where he goes, I've been watching too much Jerry Springer. I kind of just feel like that's lazy. It doesn't rhyme with anything. And it does give you the essence of the song. So I get it. I'm not mad about it. But overall, I think that he did a really good job with all these lyrics and putting all this crazy shit in there. This is one that a creative person could figure out how to do this, right? Because you can just say anything you want.
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. You probably could just pull up a list or season of Jerry Springer episodes and just write down the different guests who were on it, and here it was. But this is actually another one of those songs that I thought, man, I don't know how well this would go over today because there's a lot of different, you know, language, name calling, different things in this, right? The way that people are described. I absolutely love the song. You know, it has a point where it cuts to a husband and a wife who are speaking to each other. I don't know if you remember this. Baby, I've been sleeping with your sister. Oh, which one? He says, all of them. And it kind of goes from there. And she's like, well, I've been sleeping with your best friend, Jake. He says, well, me too. And I've been sleeping with the dog Woofy, and you hear a bark in the background. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like the epitome of Weird Al. Like he took it to a whole new level, but he did so in playing off of what was already so ridiculous that you could almost believe that that was true.
1000%. That's yeah, guys. I mean, I thought this was a great one too. So I mean, so many good things to say here, and so well done, very creative, and definitely one that I think was again one of my favorites. But let's go ahead and move on to. Oh, you got more to say about this? Okay.
I don't know that he couldn't do this today. I think all the words that he uses are descriptive. I don't. Are there any that you think are? I don't think any of them are really like they're not slurs or anything like that. I think they're all just descriptive, but it's like, it's just jarring to hear people talk about.
Maybe that's what it is for me. Maybe that really is a better way to describe it for me.
Like transvestite's not a negative term, but like nowadays, if people say it in a negative way, then obviously that's a slur. But transvestite is talking about a particular type of person. It's like a noun.
That's true. No, that's true. That is true.
Same thing, KKK. I mean, you hear KKK and you're like, oh my God. But he's just describing a type of, there are people in the KKK who go on Jerry Springer. It's happened a million times. So I think this one could hold up.
Is there a show that emulates Jerry Springer today?
Oh man, I think we all have full-time jobs, so we're not watching TV
so
like 10 a.m. to noon on
is Steve Wilkos still a thing?
He took over when Jerry left, right?
Yeah, but then he had the Steve Wilkos show.
Yeah,
I mean, it's nothing that crazy. I think that you have your Judge Judy shows, but nothing like Jerry Springer that I'm aware of.
Well, listen, I'll end with this. I'm a Cincinnati native, and I'm proud to say that the 56th mayor of Cincinnati was Jerry Springer in 1977. So,
wow.
Before becoming this amazing host who brought the realities of life to all of us, he was saving the city of Cincinnati. So, there you go.
We should do a Jerry Springer episode down the road.
Oh Lord,
there's a lot to talk about.
Throwing chairs.
All right, I try to get to it. I'll get to it now. Germs, guys. This is a cover of a Nine Inch Nails song. I think it's closer. It's not. It sounds like closer to me, and you're saying no.
This is not a cover at all, but I think it's done in the exact style of Nine Inch Nails.
Are you sure though?
Are you guys sure? I agree with Steve. It is not a cover. I don't know which song it would be.
I mean, if you look on Spotify, like all the ones that are covers has the word like parody of, and it's like, so it's Jerry Springer, parody of 1 Week by Bare Naked Ladies. This one does not. So I think, listen, maybe, I don't know how it works. And this would be a good question. I don't know if either you guys know. I don't know how the permissions work. Does he have to have the artist sign off to parody them? Does he not have to? Is it a record label? So maybe he wanted to do it like Closer by Nine Inch Nails, and they're like, no, fuck you, you suck. And he couldn't. Or maybe he just wanted to do the style.
Yeah, what I'm seeing just in some research I did, it says that it was a style parody of Nine Inch Nails, but it didn't say a particular song. So I'm with Wingman Steve. But regardless, either way, this was not one of my favorite songs on this album. Not because the content was, off base or otherwise. It just wasn't a song that got me excited. And like, of all of the things on this album, so I would say almost all of the songs were upbeat in some capacity, and this one didn't seem to fit the rest of the vibe.
Yeah, I didn't love it either. It was the subject matter. I didn't think that, like Germs, like it just wasn't funny enough for me. I didn't get into the parody or anything like that, and now that you guys ruined everything and you told me that I'm wrong, I probably like it even less. I don't know.
You were right in the sense that it's like supposed to sound like Nine Inch Nails.
Well, here's the thing. Like, this is why I thought that is at the end of the song, it has that same ending that Closer has, that ding, 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 ding. Like, it has that. So how could I not feel like it was a Closer parody? You know what I mean? Like, listen to that again and listen.
I'm not faulting you for it. There's a lot of stuff that's similar to Closer. Like there's that like there's a lot of stuff to make it sound.
Yeah,
like
they get close to it. But it's funny because it also sounds like another Nine Inch Nails song, and I was feverishly trying to find which song that was, and I can't remember. I wasn't a huge Nine Inch Nails fan, so I don't know their albums. Actually, I had friends that were, but so I get it, but I wasn't as into it. Steve, what about you?
Same as you guys. I don't think that the song is great. It's not something that I'd really want to tune into. I don't dislike Nine Inch Nails, but I'm not a huge fan of them. I liked Closer. I liked probably anything that was, like popular on the radio. I'm fine with. I'm not like huge into it, but I also don't dislike the topic. Like I think Germs could be a funny parody, but I think Germs combined with this type of electronic hard rock music, it just didn't fit. Like I feel like he could have done, especially we've all been through COVID now, right? Like I'm sure he could have wrote a COVID song, or maybe he did, I don't know. But if he made it like upbeat and to a different tune, it could have been better. But I just didn't. I think that this music, even that Cajun whatever you called it, like it could lend itself to being funny. I just don't feel like this music lends itself to being funny at all. So even if you're looking, I didn't get into the lyrics too deep, but it's just it's not that funny, so it's not that entertaining to me.
I think he was trying to use music that sounds scary with a topic that isn't really scary, but like kind of actually scary. I don't know. It didn't fall for me.
Yeah, it just didn't land. I mean, it wasn't a terrible swing. Like I guess I could understand why he thought, oh, okay, Nine Inch Nails are really popular. This will be funny. It's scary. I don't know, but it didn't work.
Did Polka Power land for you guys?
Absolutely.
Why?
This is my favorite song on the album. Like by far favorite song on the album because I don't know if you know this, but like on many of his albums, he's done these kind of polka style, which is like what he's famous for, right? Um, uh, it's not a parody though. I mean, I guess it is in the musical sense of it, but like not from a lyrical sense of it.
Right.
But he takes all these pop songs or popular songs and like wedges them all together, regardless of their style, to make them into this one polka hit. And he's done this on several albums. I just think it was incredible. And the lineup of songs for this particular one: Wanna Be by the Spice Girls, Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger, Ghetto Superstar, Everybody by the Backstreet Boys, Walking on the Sun by Smash Mouth, Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys. I mean, it just goes on and on. There was Madonna, Matchbox 20, Third Eye Blind, Marilyn Manson, Hanson with Bop. I mean, there wasn't a song in this that he parodied that wasn't like just, I don't know, popular in the 90s and part of like my childhood and what I grew up with. So I loved it.
What was Dope Show again? Who did that one?
That was Marilyn Manson. We're all stars now in the Dope Show.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one.
But that's the thing. He didn't necessarily have to sing it the way that they sung it, right? He fit it to this polka upbeat tune, regardless of who the artist or flavor was, which is what I think was great.
It's amazing. It really is. I love it too. I think it's. I mean, he even did "Closing Time" by Semisonic. Like, seriously, like that's awesome. I don't think this is easy to do either. We think about it, and yes, no, it's not a parody. It's a cover in the style of polka, but to, like you said, to be able to kind of thread those all together, that takes some skill. I mean, it sounded really good. So he's a master at this. I think, like you said, he's had a lot of experience with doing this album after album, and he just takes new songs and continues to do the same thing. So I'm all in for this one. I could listen to this one over and over again. Steve, what did you think?
Yeah, I thought, and again, I don't own every album. I thought he did one of these on every album, and it was just like his thing. Like he takes popular songs, turns them into polka, mashes them together. And you guys said all the things. I mean, it's super fun to listen to. My daughter got a kick out of it. You kind of like, oh, what's he going to play next? He makes them all like work together. He doesn't go over the top with the vocal delivery styling of who it is. He just makes it his own, but they're straight covers in polka with accordions and shit like that. And he does a really good job. So they're really funny. They're fun. And I like, at the end with Closing Time, he kind of like expands a little bit and helps it end his song. So each one is called Polka Cell. There's a whole bunch of them, but this one was well done. And right in the middle of the album, I think it's a good place for it. And I think it worked.
Yep, upbeat, loved it. And as the resident Polish person on this call, on this podcast, I wanted to steal some of the love since Wingman Steve got to be the Jewish guy. I'm the Polish guy, and I think this is a great polka version and hit.
Awesome. And you know what? It's a big high next to what I think is a little bit more of a low. This your horoscope for today. Again, I don't. I hate to say it was a miss, but it was a miss for me. I didn't love this song. I thought it was okay. I couldn't really find much other than it was just a parody of. I guess it was pretty clever in the way that he parodied the idea of people they're really into horoscopes. So that's fine. I don't have anything against that. I actually, I think it's semi interesting, but it just didn't do enough for me to really keep my attention. So, guys, maybe you felt differently.
I did feel differently. I think, not having necessarily listened to this album in its entirety for, if I did back then, I don't know, but listening to it now. So this one got my attention pretty quick. So it's got this like ska vibe to it. And by the way, the guys who were playing the trumpet and trombone are members of Real Big Fish. So he pulled in some real ska brass players to help out here. And so to me, I have this like conversation with my wife all the time. So there are two types of people in the world, right? There are people that like buy into horoscopes and that kind of thing, and people that don't. And my wife is a person that does, not necessarily this like daily thing, but you're Sagittarius, whatever, and I'm like, I don't get it. Like, I don't think it matters where the stars and the moon were, like the moment that you were born. So the concept of horoscopes to me is kind of funny. And he's like just saying all this like ridiculous shit. I love the one where he goes, one of my favorite ones where he goes, the stars predict tomorrow you'll wake up, do a bunch of stuff, and then go back to sleep. Like, that's what I think horoscopes are. And then he goes through this one whole verse. I'll read it. He goes, you may find it inconceivable, or rather at least a bit unlikely, that the relative position of the planets and the stars could have a special deep significance or meaning that exclusively applies to only you. But let me give you my assurance that these forecasts and predictions are all based on solid scientific documented evidence. So you would have to be some kind of moron not to realize that every single one of them is absolutely true. So he like nailed like what people who think horoscopes are bullshit like think, and made it really funny. And actually one more highlight that I love is under the Sagittarius. And I like the fact that he calls them all out, because sometimes you forget all these ones, and anyone who's listening to it like is listening for the one that is their sign, right? I love where he goes, all your friends are laughing behind your back, kill them. And I just started like cracking up. Like, that was good. So I did dig this one. I thought it was good.
I'm with Wingman Steve 100%. In fact, what you read out on is what I would have called out as well. Not only does he say all what you just said, but he does it in a single breath.
Yeah.
Which like adds an element to it that you're like, he's like almost as if he said it 1,000 times to people, and he's like, no, this is what it is. And I thought he really brought it in the song. But like regardless of what it was, like some of the stuff was just like so outlandish, but like I don't know, it's obviously not what you typically see in your normal horoscope, but that's what made it amazing to me and funny. I definitely would recommend this one for a listen to anybody. Chris, what is your horoscope? What is your sign?
It's Leo. I thought we talked about this.
So you're right. We have talked about it. Sorry, it's been a little while. A couple other people in the world that have birthdays. I don't know if you knew that. But for Leo, it said, now is not a good time to photocopy your butt and staple it to your boss's face. I agree with that one,
It's
Chris,
not
for many reasons. And it says you should eat a bucket of tuna flavored pudding and wash it down with a gallon of Strawberry Quick. And Strawberry Quick's amazing. So it's I don't know how this isn't fitting to you. Especially since we said you're the guy that'll try anything. So
maybe you guys talk. Maybe I just need to give it another chance. I don't know. I'm always up for another chance, but my first impression is what I told you. So that I had to go with my first impression. I never listened to this song before, this one in particular. It didn't hit me. But maybe with a couple listens, it'll be different. I'm always open for that.
Well, hey, so. it made the tour last year that we saw flashed on the screen earlier. So
true.
Must be doing something right.
It's true, very true.
Sorry, I read your paragraph, Andrew. We get called on sometimes to go first or second, and it
No,
happens.
I'm not upset about it. I thought it was great. You probably did it better than me.
Your your next song though, like it's all about the Pentiums. I don't know, guys. Okay, so I don't want to be negative again. So somebody else be negative first or be positive and talk me out of it because I'm leaning towards negative here.
I'm gonna be negative, mostly negative. It's just not one of his finest. He does cover a lot of good rap songs, and he does a good job. It, you know, doing a computer song in the '90s, I guess, makes sense. Um, but I don't know. This one just doesn't call out to me all that much. This the second time when he goes around, like, what you gonna do? Want to be hackers, code crackers? Like, his voice sounds crass. Like, he sounds like he's trying to be a little too Weird Al. The first time he does it, he does try and sound, I guess, a little bit like this is what Puff Daddy. Um, and like as a kid who grew up like kind of liking computers, like there's a couple of good little things here. Um, I like him talking about like defragging hard drives and 100 gigabits of RAM, but as a song, it's not really all that great. I do like when he says that you could back up your whole hard drive on a floppy diskette, and that's an insult in the song. But this one didn't do it all for me.
Yeah. Okay. Andrew.
I would agree overall. I thought I think there's some really good lines in this. And I don't even have it pulled up, but I think he said, "I'm down with Bill Gates. I call him money for short. I phone him up at home and I make him do my tech support." I thought that was pretty hilarious, just because, like, Bill Gates is, of course, the father of all of this. But I will say one thing Steve just said that's important, I think, to note is like the timing of it is like I remember getting the internet in my house when I was in like fourth grade, third grade, right? Which is probably the mid 90s. And this happened in 99. So, like, all of this was really new. So, the people who were part of the culture of, I guess, what I would say is like entry computer programming and otherwise, probably were more into the song and caught up in more things than I did. But one other line in the song that I thought was pretty amazing was he said, uh, "What kind of chip you got in there, Dorito?"
Dorito.
I don't know why, but there's a couple things that landed, but holistically, I don't know. Not, I agree, not his best work.
I see you're still living in your parents' cellar, downloading pictures of Sarah Michelle Gellar. I mean, so
Is that not a flashback for you, Chris? You weren't doing that.
absolutely, absolutely, 100%. Look, I mean, you're right. It's a period piece. I guess maybe the subject matter is just in 2024, we're just surrounded by everything computer. Maybe that's why I just feel jaded about this topic and it's not as funny anymore. But I guess if you put yourself back in '99, you think about it. I love this. I mean, I love the subject matter song. I mean, all about the Benjamins is amazing, right? I listen to that all the time, but I don't know. I just didn't get the joke, I guess, as listening to it again. But if you pick it apart, it has some clever lyrics, and I think we did a good job kind of pulling those out. But it's not one of my favorites on the album by any stretch of the imagination. The next one, though, is definitely one of my favorite songs on the album because this one's amazing. And I don't really like country music, but I just thought this was just so funny. I don't know. Like I just thought it was amazing. With it's a truck driver with high heels, like the song itself just is nonstop. I feel like I don't know what to say. Like
Well, frame it up for us.
I don't know what to say.
What
I'm
is the
just
song
choked up.
about, Chris? Let's start there.
It's about a truck driver.
A truck driver who wears a dress, high heels, lipstick, makeup, and otherwise. But is the truck driver featured in the song a man or a woman?
I don't think that they say it, but I think you kind of assume that it probably could be a man.
Or a very deep voice woman.
Mm-hmm.
But they kind of leave it ambiguous. So you're like, you got that kind of hilarity of like, oh my gosh, is there some guy out there painting his nails while he's driving his big semi truck, or are we all being duped at the same time? And it's actually a woman singing the song. I love the song as well. I think it's got a good beat to it, some good lyrics to it, and it kept me on my toes. But more or less, it was just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I, I don't agree. I think this is one that doesn't fly in 2024 because we're either singing a song about a cross-dressing truck driver or we're singing a song about a woman who has a deep voice. And is that really funny? Is that supposed to be funny? Like, is that? It's not like it's definitely not PC in 2024.
It's parody. It's
Well,
parody.
yeah, this is another one that I thought was not necessarily PC for this year, but I mean, I would agree with you. The thing is, I just felt he did a good job of kind of leaving that ambiguous, where your imagination can tell you whatever it is you want it to be. But I agree. I don't know if he would come out with that same song
Look,
if it was this year that album was being released.
I don't think it's about the subject matter. I think it's about the fact that you have like just a classic country song, type of thing with a ridiculous lyrical makeup. Like it's just you're taking this genre and just putting nonsense into it. That's to me that's fun. It's always funny when it just when you mash those things together. So I get what you're saying, Steve, with the potential of kind of walking that line, but I don't know. I kind of take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah, not my favorite. I feel like he's making fun of somebody that doesn't need to be making fun of.
You made fun of me the other day, and that was okay.
When did I make fun of you?
When I didn't know the answer to that one song or know the bassist for the starting line, you made fun of me.
Maybe in your head I made fun of you. I did not make fun of you.
Mm-hmm. We'll go back. We'll listen
I was
to the
quite
tape.
cordial. I just listened to that episode today, so it's quite fresh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Grapefruit Diet. This is another one, guys. But this isn't making fun of. So Grapefruit Diet. If you guys are familiar with the Cherry Poppin' Daddies that do the Zoot Suit Riot for the very famous revival of swing dancing in the late 90s, which, wow, that lasted probably about, 1 year, maybe 2. This is a parody of the Zoot Suit Riots. Everybody's familiar with that song, right? We all know what Zoot Suit Riot is. What do we think about Grapefruit Diet other than just kind of something that was shoehorned into that song?
Well, I think that I was there and present for I don't know if it was a year, it might have been like 5 minutes, that rock swing got popular for a second, and I liked it.
Did you do it?
I didn't swing dance, but I bought this record. I bought the Cherry Poppin' Daddies record, and I bought the Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. I think those were the only two that, at least that I knew of, that were bringing back the rock swing, and I thought it was really good. And if there's one place where Weird Al can shine, it's a song about food. I mean, listen, Eat It, Fat, there's My Bologna, I can't even, I'd have to look them all up, but Weird Al knows how to make a song about food, and I think he knocks it out of the park with this one. He does a great job. He follows the exact cadence of Zoot Suit Riot, especially the oh man, no more pie now, now, creme brulee. Like he gets right down. He parodies, he copies that original song really well. He sneaks in his stuff about being overweight. I never felt like he was derogatory. Even in all of his, even in like Fat, like I don't think that he was hateful. I think that it's totally fine, and I like this one. It's great. Don't eat only grapefruit. That would probably not be healthy.
Did you also have a pinstripe suit with a chain wallet?
Love it,
Andrew.
No, I thought this song was actually pretty good. It wasn't super long, I don't believe, but it was clever. It stuck to the theme really well, and I don't know, kind of took the idea to a whole new level. I would agree, Grapefruit Diet probably not the way to go, but probably a lot better than many of the other things he suggested to eat throughout this entire song. I thought this one nailed it, and it was upbeat, and it got me excited a little bit.
I think when you think about subject matter to use for parodies, to think about Zoot Suit Riot and replacing that with Grapefruit Diet, to me is really funny. So I hats off to him for this, because I think that the subject matter of this is what it is, but lyrically, I think that it was very well done. So top 5, definitely. I don't think this is one of my favorites, but definitely one of the top ones on the album for me. So, and then finally we have quite a song to kind of wrap it up. And if I'm remembering correctly, Andrew, we were talking a while back, and this may have been a song that you had brought up as a song that you definitely wanted to discuss. Am I misremembering?
No, you're 100% correct. So this song is a song that like I feel like could be a movie if you really wanted it to be. Like the Al Yankovic story movie that we referenced earlier. I mean, this could have been it if we really wanted it to be, if you wanted to really take it to a new level. But Albuquerque holds a special place in my heart. And it's what, like 13 minutes long. So you got to be dedicated to listen to it. So that's one thing. But two, I remember a buddy of mine that he introduced me to this album originally. We would sit at his parents' house and listen to it over and over again with a couple other folks. But every day in our high school lunchroom, there was a jukebox, and he would play this song every single day to the point where other students were pissed because you're paying $1 to listen to a 13-minute song that took up everyone's lunch hour and they couldn't hear what they wanted to listen to. So, and it's not like this is I wouldn't even say that this is a song other than the fact that it's on a CD or an album. I would say it's more of like a story, but it kind of is like a couple other songs on the album. I like the Weird Al theme song one we talked about earlier, where it's a convoluted mess of things that would never happen to anybody that he's compiled into someone's life story as part of the song. And like, I think we could probably deep dive into different points of it, but I want to kind of hear from you guys for a minute real quick on what your thoughts were.
Well, look, I think that this is kind of, you break this down, this is kind of like a book. So if you write out all these lyrics, I would be really, really excited to see like how many words are actually in this song on a page. I bet you it fills up like a small book type, volume, which is really cool. So I really like this one. I thought that it was long, but it kept your attention the whole way through because the way he tells the story, and yes, you're right, it's not a song, it's just more of like an adventure or just like it's kind of like an act or like a comedy act to music. But he does such a good job with keeping the flow at a certain pace that you never get tired of what he's saying. And he keeps it exciting with the segues from situation to situation to situation. And they're nonsensical. It's silly, the things that he puts together, going from a plane crash to getting married. And my favorite part is breaking off the marriage because they disagreed about Columbia House. Like that's genius. Like it's amazing. So he says some really cool stuff in here that you just don't think about as a normal human being, and they just work in this song. So I don't think I deep dived it enough. And I do feel like this could be like an entire episode of a show to talk about this particular track. There's so much in here. Even going to the donut shop and over again getting turned down for everything that he wants. And then finally he settles for a box of weasels. Like
starving and crazed weasels, Chris. Starving and crazy weasels.
Excuse me.
He never would have met the love of his life had he not taken those.
Excuse me. Yes, from a donut shop after a plane crash. So it just all worked so well. I'm a big fan of nonsensical things. That's my humor, and this fits right in with that. So whatever he did here, it worked for me. Steve?
Yeah, just to peel back the onion a little bit, usually when I prepare for a show, I will copy and print out all of the lyrics. for this particular episode, I copied and printed out 11 of the 12 tracks because I didn't want to use all of that ink because Chris, it probably would have taken like 4 extra pieces of paper. And I do it in 2 columns too. So anyways, yeah, it's a crazy 11-minute like mashup, rant, ridiculous story that is, unless you're forced to listen to it at lunch every day for an entire year, it's tough to listen to it like a million times. But when you sit down and listen to it, like it is really funny. It is like its own story. Some of the shit is, well, most of the shit is like really crazy. I would have cut out the donuts thing. The donuts part is the only part where I was like, oh my God, this joke just went on way too long. But I guess that's him and it fits. I love the Columbia House Record Club. I've been to Albuquerque. I would assume he only called it Albuquerque because his name is Al. There's nothing that I saw from Albuquerque that happened to me, at least in my travels there, that also happened to him. And it also reminds me a little bit. You guys remember that song, "The United States of Whatever"? I think it was by like Liam Lynch. It was from a TV show too. My United States of Whatever. I went down to the clubs. He was like, whatever. Like it seemed like this was like the 11 or 12-minute version of that. And yeah, I thought it was fun. I liked it a lot.
No, I love it. My favorite part is when his plane crashes, but he survived because he had his tray table up in the seat in the full upright position, which of course you hear on every flight you've ever been on, and everyone in their mind knows that like I'm not gonna survive a crash regardless of whether or not this is the case, but I kind of understand what they're going for. But not only that, but he says what he's bringing with him from that wreckage, which is his leather suitcase, his garment bag, a tenor saxophone, a 12-pound bowling ball, and his lucky autographed glow-in-the-dark snorkel. So 5 crazy heavy things and then one random piece of nothingness, but ultimately added to the story later on.
That also survived the plane crash.
Yes, of course. The only one, the sole survivor of that plane crash.
No, I mean the luggage. The luggage survived. All that luggage survived
too.
The
luggage survived it too. Yes, that is true.
And he would have never made it to the world famous Albuquerque Holiday Inn if he wouldn't have survived that plane crash.
We should Google map that, see where it is, and take a group trip down there.
We should.
Probably. You can apparently eat your soup right out of the ashtrays if you want to, as they said.
As they definitely said. The only thing that would be appropriate for today's world is, in addition to your tray table and everything else that he said saved him, was to put your phone into airplane mode, and that would also have added to. That's the update for this song. Is that? But that's just hilarious. That's hilarious.
The overarching theme to all this is that he hates sauerkraut. Sauerkraut sucks.
Oh yes. The last piece I'll say about this song is at the end of it, he's going through and he's like, give me an A, or what does he say? He said, I said A, L, L. He's trying to spell Albuquerque and he gets to U and then it's just like a pause. The music's going and then he says, Turkey, because he has no idea how to spell the rest of it.
It's I thought that hard
was like the best way to end the song ever.
Yeah.
It is a really hard word to spell.
It is.
For sure. Well, look, guys, we did it. We got through all 12 tracks. We had a lot to say about this album. I think there is a lot to say about this album. It was very fun from front to back. But now that brings us to our next segment of the show, which I like to call Ranking It. This is where we get to rank our favorite stuff on what we just talked about. So today, everybody's going to do 2 Ranking It's. The first one, I'm not going to give them to you both. I'm going to give you one at a time. First one's super simple. Everybody rank their top 3 in order from 3 to 1 favorite songs from this album, Running with Scissors. Andrew, we always have our guests go first. So as we normally do, I'm going to hand the mic to you to give your top 3 from the album.
All right. So number 3 is first. I am going to go with your horoscope for today, which Chris did not like at all. But I thought this was a good song. I very much enjoyed it. Number 2 is going to be Albuquerque. Honestly, this song is epic. I would say it would be number 1 if it was something that I could actually go sing on my own if I ever wanted to. But you
do
really
it karaoke.
Yeah. If I karaoke this song, they would be throwing beer bottles and tomatoes at me. like the entire time. But in my number one is the Polka Power. I love it. It has a great beat. It has songs that I love, and I really appreciate that.
Good top three. Steve, what do you got?
I'm going to agree on number three, your horoscope for today. I really enjoyed that ska take on horoscopes. Number two, I'm going to go with The Saga Begins. My love for Star Wars and American Pie, and I think I'm giving number one to Jerry Springer because it was probably hard for him to sing all that stuff really fast and add that stuff in there. So I'm giving Jerry Springer the number one.
Okay, so two somewhat different top threes. Mine's going to be different too. So number three is going to be the truck driving song because I already said why, and it's really funny, and I'm going to stick by that. But it's definitely not better than the next two. The number two for me is Albuquerque. It's just epic. It's an epic way to end the album. It's everything that I want in that type of song, spoken word, story, adventure, whatever it is. It just ties all that together and puts it in a bow, puts it in a package and puts a bow on it, and it's just perfect. So number two, but it's not as perfect as my favorite song, which to Steve's chagrin, it's going to be Pretty Fly for a Rabbi. I think they took that song and perfectly parodied it. Just overall, just the inflection of the voice, a lot of the lyrics just made me laugh. Just my favorite, but I will say this. So that's my top three. There were a couple others that you guys said that definitely could have made it. Like Polka Power's awesome. And everything except for the horoscope song. I don't like that one. Sorry.
You picked two of the three offensive songs.
Well, look, I mean, what do you want me to say? I guess I like offensive stuff sometimes, but I didn't think it was that way. But it's okay. So no offense to any of you out there. Those are just the songs I like. Now, let's go ahead and move on to the second half of ranking it. And let's talk about something a little bit different, but still Weird Al related. So I'm going to challenge you guys a little bit more. And I want you to think, and I'm putting everybody on the spot, your top five, because we all talked about our fandom. So our top five favorite Weird Al songs of all time. That's any album from any decade, anytime. Top five. Andrew, as a guest, you have to go first.
All right,
So,
number five is
go.
White and Nerdy, which was a parody of Ride Dirty. That was one of the songs that I think it was on the album that came out in 2006. I forget the name
The
of it.
noodle one.
Yeah,
Noodle
but
hat or
like
something.
yeah, but it was clever. It was good. And I think that song actually like went pretty high up on the charts as well because it had a good music video to go along with it. It was kind of at, the height of MTV and stuff. And that was probably the one that in my eyes, like from at least a modern rap and hip hop age, like really landed for him. Now, number four, I'll go with Amish Paradise because Amish Paradise, I think, was incredible. I mean, I think anyone who grew up in that era thought that Gangsta's Paradise was like the shit too. Let's be honest, right? That was a hell of a song, super popular. So we'll go there. Uh, Number three, I'm gonna stick. See, I feel like if I leave my number one out of the other album, it's kind of weird to do that. So I guess I can't say that. So all right, I'm gonna go with the Polka Power one as my number three. But there was another polka song from the Bad Hair Day album, and I'm blanking on the name of it right now. It's killing me that I can't think of it. But it was equally as impressive with the number of popular hits. So yes, I'm saying that two of my favorite five are polka songs.
Is it
But my
the alternative polka? Is that the one?
alternative polka, yes, it was alternative songs. It was incredibly well done. Love that. Although the Forrest Gump song from that album is pretty close too. I would say to my top five. But to end it, The Night Santa Went Crazy is my number one Weird Al song. Santa ended up killing all the elves and reindeer, and like they had to bring in the FBI and all these other people to contain him. It was such a good song. If your children have not listened to it, make sure they do before the next holiday season. They will very much appreciate it, like I did when I heard it in fifth grade. So there you go. My top five.
Okay. A lot of stuff off a Bad Hair Day. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. Steve, what do you got?
A lot of mine come from those early days from that big box set that I had. So I'm going to start off. I mentioned that I love Star Wars. I'm gonna give number 5 to Yoda, which I may have been the first Star Wars song he wrote. Is a parody of that song Lola, and he's just talking about little guy in the Dagobah swamp, Yoda. Number 4, I guess I'll put one of the real big ones on there. And not that these are not all big, but Eat It, I think, was done really well. I mean, that was probably where I found either that one or Fat is probably where I found, Weird Al, because they did play that in the early mid 90s on MTV a lot. So I'm going to go with the Michael Jackson Beat It cover, Eat It. Amish Paradise, number 3. I think that that deserves to be on there. It's got some staying power. I actually saw like an Instagram or a TikTok or something of an actual Amish person who snuck a phone into her, like whatever, and was playing and singing it at a piano. I saw that like this week. So that one still holds up. Number 2, this is a pretty old one, but I think it was really well done. It's called I Think I'm a Clone Now, which is a parody of I Think We're Alone Now, but the Weird Al finds out that he is a clone of another human being. I'm trying to think of the lyrics right now, but I can't. Anyways, that's my number 2. And my number 1 is actually a Weird Al original. And I have no idea why it's my favorite, but I always loved The Biggest Ball of Twine in Minnesota. It's about him going on like a road trip with his family and crazy shit happens, but they're going to see the biggest ball of twine in Minnesota, which makes no sense. And I think that's my favorite Weird Al song.
I think I'm a clone now because every chromosome is a hand-me-down. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. I didn't know that. I just looked it up.
I've never heard of the Big Ball Twine in Minnesota. I cannot wait to hear this.
I think when I pulled up the set list of the like original tour, I think that was the closing song or maybe the encore or something.
Nice.
So I got a couple of the same songs that you guys have, but I also have some ones that you didn't mention. And the first one is my number 5, and it is Taco Grande, because it is a cover or a parody of Rico Suave. So it's really fun. It's really funny because that's if you know what Rico Suave is, it's ridiculous to begin with. And the guy Ricardo or whatever the guy's name is that does that song, it's nonsense. But this song just parodies that to the highest degree, because all he talks about is like taco ingredients over a song that was about like a guy that's supposed to be smooth, so really funny. Number 4 is White and Nerdy. I think you covered it, Andrew. That song was amazing. He did it perfectly. And I thought it was great. Number 3 was Fat, because I love that song. I was into Michael. I had Michael Jackson Bad, but the Fat, like the actual video of that song was really funny. And I just remember watching it over and over again. You're not fat. You ain't nothing. You ain't nothing. And then he like starts blowing up and he becomes really big fat and they do the dance. It's really, really funny. Well done. And, for the time it was ahead of its time in terms of effects, because you didn't see that too much in the late 80s. Amish Paradise, again, we talked about it. Just an awesome parody, an awesome song. I think I have it memorized too, just like my kids, but love that one. And then the number 1 song for me is Smells Like Nirvana, because when that came out, I immediately went out and bought this album when that came out, because I was a huge Nirvana fan, but the things he says in this song are just unbelievable. It's especially like the line about, I'd like to blarg and flarg and mouth, and if I didn't have marbles in my mouth, like that's just really just spot on for what it is in the original Smells Like Teen Spirit, because you can't understand Kurt Cobain sometimes. So really cool stuff, but that's my number 1.
Good stuff. Everybody go out and listen to some Weird Al.
Absolutely. So, guys, hopefully you enjoyed your time today listening to us talk about this album. In February Folly, the album Running with Scissors, Weird Al Yankovic. First time ever on High School Never Ends. I know I had a blast. It sounds like you guys did too. Andrew, It was a pleasure as always, and awesome to have you on again.
No, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. This has been a lot of fun. I'm not an expert like you guys in hosting these things, but to get some experience and also to get to talk about something I love, couldn't be happier. So thank you guys.
Absolutely. And hopefully you guys out there loved it too. If so, we'd love to hear from you. Hit up our socials. We're on the Insta, we're on the X. You can see us on the Facebook, even the Discord. Links to all of those different fantastic things where you can give us your opinion on this episode and any other that you've listened to in the, I guess, the not so distant past or future, is all linked to our website, www.hsnepod.com. That's our hub. You can find links to all of those there.
Yep, including our shop. Go and tout your podcast pride. Get some high school never end swag. Got some coffee mugs, t-shirts, hoodies, hats, all that good stuff. Support your friends, Wingman Steve, Chris 183, and the Dragon Wagon Independent Podcast Network. And to that effect as well, give us a 5-star rating on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. Tell us what you liked about the episode. Tell us how much you love our show. Or give us a bad rating if you think we suck. But give us a good rating because we're fun and you guys like listening to us and it'll help us in the algorithm. Andrew, as Chris said, thank you so much for joining us. We have one more February Folly left in the bag. We'll be back next week with that. Until then, keep on rocking your dad bods, throw up your rock hands, and blast the pop punk.
Internet! I'm Coy Jandro, a Bostonian who loves pop culture, comic books, and people. And I host Coycast. It's a podcast about all those things. If it fits in on a con floor, we talk about it on Coycast. Myself and producer Jake do previews, reviews, deep dives, and tinfoil hat theories about everything from movies, TV, and the comic books themselves. I also like to dish out comic recommendations from my 100-plus pull list a week so you know what's best to buy. So join us, True Believer, on Coycast.com or wherever you're listening to this podcast right now.
Dragon Wagon.